Hi, welcome to the Essence of Consulting, where I share with you what the top consultants do and how they do it, so you can become one. And today we'll talk about problem solving, which is an essential skill for a consultant. As a consultant, you will serve clients. It can be in the private sector or in the public and the social sector. And you will help those clients improve their performance, reach their goals. And to do that, you need to first take a complex problem, then analyze it, and finally come up with a recommendation, something that your client can act on. And the problems are complex. It's non-trivial. I served clients in helping them, for example, build a very large-scale plant and cut down the plant expenditures. Another client of mine, a big bank, I helped them enter a new market by acquiring another bank and doing the valuation of that other bank. So how do you do that? Problem solving is how you achieve client impact. It's at the core of consulting, is an essential skill for you to be successful as a consultant and in your case interviews. So let's start breaking it down. What is the method that the top consultants follow? And the first step is to define the problem. You have to start by understanding what your client needs to solve and then articulating that understanding. So always think about, what do I need to know about this problem? How do I frame it? For example, in the large-scale plant that my client was building, I needed to understand what stage are they in. Is it on the design and concept phase, or is it already on the execution stage? And what is the goal, the target? Is it to reduce it by 10%, by 20%, how much? Or in the case of the bank, what is the rationale for going into the market? What is the rationale for this target bank that we want to acquire? Is it because we want economies of scale? Is it because we want to sell the client products through that bank? Why is it that we are considering this acquisition? So remember that defining is an essential step because it points you in the right direction. And then you move on to the second step, which is structure the case. Disaggregate the problem you are solving into issues that you can analyze or into hypotheses that you can validate. So, for example, when I looked at the plant, I started looking at how can we reduce expenditures in the concept and design. How can we reduce expenditures in the actual contracting and vendor management? And then how can we reduce expenses in the actual project execution? Or when you look at the bank, if your client is considering an acquisition, then you should look into what is the value of that target? What is the value of other options that the client has? The client can always acquire other banks or other companies. And what is the value of doing it on an organic basis, entering a new market on its own? So these are examples of questions you need to ask in order to start breaking down the problem and analyzing it, which is the third step of the problem-solving method. Analyze the problem. And here, always think about answers, not analysis per se. When I looked at, for example, in the plant project, we had to look at technical issues. We had to look at execution issues. We had to look at how well the client was prepared to handle risks, to manage projects, what were the skills that they had. Now, what is the bottom line of all that? Why are we doing that? How does that fit into the client answer? In the case of the bank, when we look at financial forecasts, cash flows analysis, synergies estimations, what does that mean for the client? Which leads you to the final step in the problem-solving process, the recommendation. What should your client do? It has to be actionable. What should they do and how should they do it? In the case of the plant, we help the client have a new process to manage their vendors and their contractors, making different bids and ways to compare those bids. We help them develop skills that they needed to manage the actual project execution. In the case of the bank, we help the client understand which products he should sell in that market and understand that the best way to gain assets and knowledge about that market was indeed through an acquisition. And we help the client value how much it should bid for that bank. So when you do that, when you follow these 4 steps, you are using a sound method to solve any type of problem. And that problem-solving method is the essence of consulting. And it's the way that you can ace your case interviews. Now, you need to practice them. They are skills. It's like being a cook. You have the right ingredients, you have the right equipment and tools. You need the skills to know how to combine them, the ingredients, how to use the different tools. I myself am a very limited cook. I can do just the basics. The same thing with problem solver. You can be a problem solver that can solve basic problems, but if you want to be a top consultant, you need to be a master chef and develop those problem-solving skills which are essential for your success.